What happens here? Exactly 9 o'clock, and we kick off. People will start coming in. We are going to record it for the alumni group. So if anybody wants to rewatch what Marc has to say, you're welcome to do that. We're only here for an hour, so please get your questions ready. We are really, really excited to hear from Marc today. I received an awesome gift in the post, so I'm going to make everybody jealous right now. This phenomenal book. And I always said that if I was going to write a book, it would be a coffee table book with all the successes of the clients that I've worked with. So this is absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much, Marc. But what it did highlight was how you can put your reputation forward or your image forward. For me, it was really interesting. And you all know that the Diamond Plan and the Diamond Academy and the Diamond Den. So one of these days, I'm going to be inside a book like this with diamonds coming out in all sorts of directions. So Marc, you have to get that creativity of yours flying. Yeah, see.
Front cover for you, Diane.
So Marc is a photographer and a visual artist and creates what he describes as visual alchemy. And really and truly, I met Marc a little while back where he was part of a speaker group that I belonged to. But even before that, Richard, who runs the group that I was part of or am part of, suggested that I link up with Marc. And I had just signed up Abigail to do my photos at that point. So we kind of missed one another, but it's probably just as well because now I have a better purpose and better knowledge to share and a better way of moving forward. So hopefully Marc and I will get together in the next couple of months and do a whole photo shoot together. So welcome, Marc. We are really, really excited to have you here. It's fantastic to be part of the group with all my business owners and people that are part of my ecosystem. And they are all business owners. So they all need to be in your space at some time. So over to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me here, Diane. I can already sense from the group, you've got a very cool group of people here. And yeah, this talk that I'm about to share is really actually geared predominantly to business owners. So I'm going to be covering two things today. I'm really going to be covering the story of an alternate idea around photographs. And I'm going to end off with some really amazing practical tips that you can take away when you have your next photo shoot. So without further ado, this is the title of my talk is called The Purpose Portrait, and it's how to realize your dreams by visualizing your purpose. And I'd like to just kick off with a question for you. And that question is, has there ever been a time in your life when you as a business owner have realized that maybe, just maybe, you're not doing what you love anymore? Well, I found myself in that position. In 2017, I built up a successful marketing business. It had been running for 15 years. I loved my team. I was very proud of the work we were doing. We were working with some amazing brands. And yet I was actually feeling very unfulfilled at that time. I think it had been a long time in the making. In some ways, I'd fallen in love or fallen out of love with the business. And I knew I wanted change. I just didn't know what that change looked like. And so not having the answers to these questions, I just continued to tough it out in the business, taking on more stress, more responsibility, ignoring all the messages in my body, which were really screaming out to me every single day, until the point that I couldn't ignore them any longer. I ended up in the hospital, actually, with burnout. And, you know, ending up in ICU was actually a very scary experience, as you can imagine. I don't know how many of you have had that experience of being in an ICU, but I can tell you it becomes a real moment of reflection about life. In some ways, it becomes a reflection of life and death. And in that setting and this picture that I took, I remember thinking, I am going to leave my business. The decision is right now. And the only thing was that I really didn't have any idea what I wanted to do next. You know, I decided that I needed to become a student on purpose. And so I devoured every bit of content that I could find. I read books on purpose. I watched YouTube on purpose, listened to podcasts. I even enlisted a purpose coach. And I tell you, once you put energy into doing something like this, I think the universe responds. And it took a couple months. And eventually it all came down to 3 questions. And these 3 questions set me on a trajectory that really changed my life completely. These 3 questions shaped my purpose. These 3 questions helped me visualize the purposes of the people that I would eventually photograph. And my hope is that today, these 3 questions will help you uncover your purpose too. So after the hospital visit, I decided that I was going to pursue my dream of becoming a professional photographer. And let me tell you, I actually had no real experience of being a professional photographer. The grand total of my experience was the travel photos that I'd taken and these crazy photos that I took of my newborn son that had somehow found their way online, that found their way into the Huffington Post, and it all started there. And my big break came when John Sane, who some of you may know, he's a global speaker. He talks about future trends. He saw these photos online and he contacted me and he said, I want something similar to this. I want something augmented. I want something futuristic. I want something that would really represent me as I am now. And let me tell you, John is a very expansive person. His first book that came out was called What's Your Moonshot? It became an instant bestseller. He's written another 4 books. They've all gone on to become bestsellers. And together, John and I decided that we were going to come up with this art piece. And this is what materialized after that. And John felt that this photo really captured him. It captured who he was. It captured his purpose at that moment in life. And it captured this element of expansiveness, which is how he defined himself. I mean, that was his sort of word for the year at that time, was expansive. And, doing John's photo shoot was a real turning point for me because it felt like there were these 2 intersecting forces. The one is that I'd found my purpose as a photographer. And the second is that I'd now been given this gift. And this gift was helping to really uncover other people's purposes visually. And that's where this idea of the purpose portrait was born. So John became the first of many South Africans that I would photograph over the next 3 years, producing purpose portraits. And to uncover people's purposes visually, I asked everybody the same 3 questions. And I'm going to take you through them. I'd love it if you would really internalize it. Think about this for yourself. So the first question is, what is the single most exciting and uncomfortable work you will spend your time on over the next year? So when you look at this question, what 2 words in this question stand out to you? If anybody would be brave enough just to shout out, what are those 2 words that you see that are popping out?
Uncomfortable.
Thanks,
And
Andre.
exciting.
Yes, you got it. So this question actually uncovers your purpose, and excitement reveals your passion, and uncomfortability indicates just how much you will grow. So let's have a look at an example here. This is Pepe Marais. Some of you may know of the name. He is the co-founder of Joe Public, which is South Africa's biggest independent advertising agency. And Pepe is spending his time working towards obtaining a PhD in order to make a mass impact on education in South Africa. And this art piece was inspired throughout the most intense period of our pandemic, showing that no matter happens, and you can see it by the words on the book, we can always be growing. Siba Mtongana, she's a multi-award winning chef. She's got best-selling recipe books, an award-winning television show, and a 5-star restaurant in Cape Town. She does what excites her. She does what's uncomfortable every single day. And let me tell you, she's one of the happiest people that I know. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what following your purpose looks like. Celebrity fashion designer Gert-Johan Coetzee believes that instead of chasing success just for the sake of it, he decides instead to follow what excites him every single day. And in this way, he's been able to grow his business from a seed into a global fashion business. And he's done works with the likes of the Kardashians, with Cardi B, with Oprah, with Barbie. The list goes on. This is a real talent in the making. Okay, so that's question one. What's question two? How would you describe yourself as a symbol or an animal or a plant once you have achieved this? So this question simply means, how do you see yourself? And this question was by far the most impactful because it would reveal these South African greats in a way that anybody could relate to. I often think about if you're meeting a stranger, you're having a coffee with them, what are the typical things you'll ask? You'll say, what do you do? Tell me a bit about yourself, but ask this question and you will get such a deep understanding of the person, because when you understand their symbol and why that's important to them, you are getting a very deep response on that person's identity. So let's have a look at this example. The elephant. The elephant embodies strength. It embodies grace. It embodies dignity. And it is the great protector. And this is how Thuli Madonsela, a revered icon, in my opinion, she is second to Nelson Mandela as a living icon in South Africa. I found out recently that she's actually part of the school curriculum at the moment. My son came home and said, yeah, no, we are studying about Thuli. And that just shows you what level of icon she is in this country. And this is how she sees herself. Jeremy Loops. What symbol do you think that he identifies with?
Is that water?
Thank you, Robin. You're spot on. It's water. And that's what he identifies with. And he attributes his success as an award-winning artist to his ability to be creative and in the flow of life. Brian Habana. After retiring from rugby, he had to spread his wings and transform from sports star to entrepreneur. And this art piece shows Brian embraced in the phoenix wings, which symbolizes rebirth, courage, and the potential to fulfill his most audacious dreams. The giraffe. The giraffe is elegant, gentle, and confident while making big strides and towering above the rest. And this is how successful businesswoman Liesel van der Westhuizen sees herself. And she identifies with the symbol so much that she named her business the Giraffe Brand Academy. So as you can see, symbols can mean different things to different people. A butterfly may be a symbol of vulnerability to one person and a symbol of strength and transformation to another. What really matters is what meaning your symbol holds for you. So my question is, what is your symbol? Okay, so the final question is, how would you describe the above vision for yourself in one word? And this is possibly the hardest question out of all three. How do you describe your purpose and how you see yourself in just one word? Incredibly hard to do. Many of you heard of this concept called the word of the year. It's loosely based on that, but this is about having a single word which becomes a guiding beacon for your purpose. Do you remember the Jerusalem song that came out during the pandemic? This is Master KG. He brought out the song which unified people. It brought people together during this very tumultuous time, and his word is peace. This is another music icon. It's Kulichana, and he survived being shot 9 times in 2013. This experience almost ended his musical career. Just think about it for yourself. Imagine that you got shot 9 times, survived, and had to carry on with normal life. I don't think that that's entirely possible. And he really questioned his purpose and what he wanted to do, but he found this inner strength. He produced a brand new album. It was released at the time of taking this photo. And this art piece represents Kuli as the cat with 9 lives, a life for every bullet that he survived. So these 3 questions not only helped in the creation of these art pieces, they also provide us with a valuable lesson. And that lesson is how we see ourselves, how we see our best selves, and the words we use to describe the vision of ourselves paints our best future. And I think that for me is like the biggest learning of this, is how we see ourselves, but also the words we choose to describe that vision of ourselves paints our reality. And throughout this process, I've discovered that the most successful and fulfilled people have one thing in common, and that is they spend a portion of their time finding themselves, looking within, and the rest of their time creating their future. So, the end result of capturing these purpose portraits was really the culmination of my own dream, which manifested in an exhibit that was seen by over 500,000 people. And Diane showed you this book, which has so far raised over 1.1 million rand for the Reach for a Dream Foundation. So this just goes to show you that following your dreams can give benefits more than one can ever imagine. And that was something that was, for me, I never expected any of this, but this is the magic that came as a result of it. And if, like me, you found yourself at a crossroads in your life and you don't know your purpose and you don't have the answers, then I would simply encourage you to simply ask yourselves these 3 questions. And more than that, you actually have to picture what that looks like, because when you do, your life can change automatically to align to that picture. That's the secret. So as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you are the artist of your own life. And it's never too late for a new canvas. And it's never too late to paint a new picture of yourself. And it's never too late to envision a future in which your dreams come true. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is part 1 of this talk. And a lot of food for thought here. You'll be thinking about this at the dinner table. You'll be asking people what their symbols, what their animals are. And hopefully this produces some insight in your life. I hope it does. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on.
Mark, before you carry on, won't you just go back to those 3 questions just to highlight them one more time for everybody?
Sure.
Is that possible?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
So everybody just needs to really, really think about what Mark had said about all of them and take cognitive of what these 3 questions are. Thanks, Mark.
Cool. I have these questions on the website as well. If you go to marcgregory.com, there is a link. Just going to check it now. just to be 100% where that is. And you can actually answer these questions yourself. There's a form builder on the website, and this takes the hassle out of doing that. I just want to see if it is on there. Yes. So if you go to marcgregory.com, there's a link called In Good Company. And at the bottom of the page, it says, click here to answer the iconic questions yourself. Okay, so it's all there. Okay, can I move on? Great. Okay. All right, so we are at part 2 of the presentation, and this is practical tips for your photo shoot. So what I've shown you here is this idea of the purpose portrait, which is this fusion of photography and art that, that really brings your personal brand to life in a way that gets attention and stands out, and is something very personal in your life that helps you define your purpose and your values. You just get a better understanding of it, and it really propels your year in a way that that has a magical quality to it. I think everybody that I've done a purpose portrait for, it's almost created a blueprint for their life, and they're able to look at this every day and go, hey, I'm actually aiming towards this exciting and uncomfortable thing. I'm looking at it every day, and you know what? The magic starts to happen, and the results start to come. As part of the photo shoot that I do with these people in producing it, I also produce executive headshots, because I know that personal branding is more than just having art up. It's also having a set of executive headshots that you can update online, your personal bio, your WhatsApp, your LinkedIn, all of these things. And it's important to have that. Personal branding is more important than ever. And how you invest in the image of yourself says a lot about you. People are looking online. How do they find you? They look online, they find your picture, and they are making an instant assessment straight away. They are asking, is this person professional? Can I trust them? And do they care about me and my business? And we are so adaptable as people that we can actually identify that in under 2 seconds just by looking at the photo of someone. So this is important. You get your photo right, and you can actually convey all these 3 questions like that. So let's look at the various steps here. The step 1 is choosing the right photographer. And here you really want to choose a photographer that's got experience, that are shooting people similar to you. They're shooting business owners. If any of you are speakers, they're shooting speakers. If any of you are public figures or want to be one, they're doing that. Or if you're a CEO or an MD and you want to take, that image seriously, that's what you're looking at. How are you going to know? You look at their portfolio of work on their website. Because the reason for doing that, and not just any standard photographer, is that this photographer will understand exactly what you're setting out to achieve. Let's say you are writing a new book and you want to publicize it, or you creating something new in your business, or you're upgrading your website and you want to show yourself and your team in a certain way. They know exactly how to produce photos that will speak to you, that will represent you in the best, most exciting way possible. And I think this is it, is that you want to have standout photos. You want to have exciting photos, and you want photos that when you put out could really represent you in the best way possible. And I'd like to challenge you to go onto any of the Speaking Bureau websites and have a look at the quality of pictures, the quality of photographs of the speakers. And you know what? You can see immediately who are the people that are taking an effort, and a real effort, to making great photographs. And I think you can see it. It says it for itself. John, who I'd mentioned earlier, he's in the center there. And after doing his executive portraits, his speaking engagements globally grew by 10-fold as a result of this. And his social media following grew by over 300%. And I'm giving one case study here, but I've seen again and again and again, great photos produce great results. Okay, so let's talk about the briefing for a bit here. Is you've now decided, okay, you're going to embark on this this journey, you're going to invest in these professional photographs. What's next? So the first thing you want to do is have a conversation with the photographer. You want to have a briefing session. Why do you want to do this? You want to understand what's coming up. And typically you'll find out that you're going to be in studio. Studio looks something like this, lots of lights, and a different stage, you could say. And the photographer is going to be taking lots of photos of you. They are going to be directing you. They are going to be taking the most amazing shots possible of you, but you just want to understand what that looks like. And typically that session will last about 2 to 3 hours, and you can expect hundreds and hundreds of photos coming out of that. Now, what does your photographer actually need to know from you? Well, they need to know a couple of things. They need to know what are the qualities, the physical qualities that you like best about yourself. What are the physical qualities that you like least about yourself? Some clients will say, you know what, I love my eyes. I think they're the most piercing, best quality that I want showcased. And you know what, that means close-up photos and lots of really expression in the eyes. Some clients will go, I hate the side profile of my nose. And that means no photos, no side profiles of nose coming up. And the other things that you can share with your photographer is really where your photos would end up. So slimming is a good example. Do you want a bit of more shapely figure? Often clients come back, you know what, I'm trying to get in shape for this. I've got my plan, it's happening, but I got a bit of love handles going on. Can you just help, just slide them in a bit? And technology, Photoshop really allows that to happen. So someone will say, I've got these very heavy, dark rings under my eyes. I don't sleep a lot because I work so hard. Can you lighten them up? Yes. I've got skew teeth. Can you just straighten them a bit? Yes. This is not a time to be embarrassed. This is a time to go, this is what I want out of my photographs. And this is what you need to brief in your photographer. If they're not asking you this, you need to tell them. Okay. So outfit choice. Outfit choice is next. What do you wear? Now, I always shoot for 3 looks. And typically those 3 looks encompass one, if let's say you are a speaker, something that you would wear if you're getting on stage to talk to an audience. It's like your power outfit. If you're not, then 2 smart executive or professional. Let's call them professional because we don't want to say executive. If you're not a suit wearing person, you don't go and wear a suit in it, but you would wear something that you would wear if you were going to a very important meeting. This is something that you'd feel very confident in. And the third one is something smart and casual. And the one thing you want to do is you want to favor solid colors. So what are solid colors? Solid colors mean that you wear one color. So like what I'm wearing here is definitely not a solid color. It's got patterns on it everywhere. It's very distracting. And when it comes to taking photographs, you want just simple colors like black, simple colors like white, navy, gray, beige. These are classics. They come out amazingly on camera. So that's what you want. You're looking for clothing that is fit well to your body, nothing hanging or baggy, unless you're a rapper. Any rappers here? Okay, no rappers here. So slim and sorry, fitting for the body. Okay. Step 4, posing. This is an area people stress out about. It's like they even practice their posing and beforehand, and this is definitely not required. This is the job of the photographer. But what can really help you, I think it's more aligned to the stress of the shoot and knowing what to do. But what you can do, and this is what I do with my clients, is I share with them a Pinterest board of photos that can inspire them, that they can look at and go, you know what, I like this one on the left here. I like this one. I can see myself doing that. And that helps the photographer immensely, because then they know what they need to shoot for. They need to know if they need a dark background. They need to know if you're sitting down, if you need a bar stool. These are the things that you really want. You want to come out of it. You want to look at it and have exciting photos that you can also work towards and co-create with the photographer. It makes the experience a lot more fun. Step 5, hair and makeup. Okay, this is a non-negotiable. Hair and makeup has to happen on the day in the studio. Let me show you the before and after, the difference it makes to have a hair and makeup artist in the studio. Some before and after. This makes all the difference in your photos. So I'm not even going to talk more about it. Get a hair and makeup artist. For the gents, this is more relaxed. The gents generally don't need it. Sometimes we'll have a makeup artist on the side and they just do a bit of powdering, but no lipstick. Okay, guys, don't worry. Okay, so number 6 is a stylist. Now, if you are feeling very confident in your dress sense, if you generally go out and you get complimented on how you're dressing, you don't need a stylist. But if you're feeling uncertain, you're not sure what you're going to wear, this is my number 1 tip. Get a stylist. When I'm saying get a stylist and get a hair makeup artist, it's not something you have to research. The photographer you choose will have people that they use and they trust that can do this for you. And the stylist is somebody that will go out and they will shop for clothes for you, that will look at your skin type, that will look at your body shape and know what will work best on camera. And here's the beautiful byproduct of this, is that the stylist is doing this and they're only going to get 3 signature looks for you for your shoot. But these looks you could then take away and use at your meetings or your speaking engagements or not. If you're not wanting to keep these clothes, they can be returned. So this is a very inexpensive way to get an amazing look in terms of style on the day. All right, so what about nerves? Now, I don't think many of you are thinking about nerves now, but when it comes to getting closer to the photo shoot, nerves do play a big part. And one of my coaches long ago said something that I never forget, and I always use this in my life when I get especially nervous about anything. And they said, if you get nervous, say to yourself these words: I get to do this. I mean, think about this. You are at a point in your life where you are deciding that you want to upgrade your personal brand image. You're going to go into an experience, have your photos taken, to get these incredible photos. This is a gift to yourself. This is something exciting. And guess what? A blessing that you can say, I get to do this. And more than that, I also recommend that clients bring, if you're into music, if you have a playlist you like to listen to, bring that into studio. Because when you have comfort, when you have your own music playing around you, it gets you moving, it gets you relaxed. The other thing is to bring an object that is sentimental to you that you can hold. So you can hold it during your shoots. It may not end up in the photos, but it will just give you that element of comfort while that's going on. And this isn't going to happen for the full 2 to 3 hours. You'll begin to develop comfort very quickly during the photo shoot. Within 20 minutes, if you're vibing with your photographer, then you start to actually have fun and experiment and do something and just have fun with the process. Okay. What is the last step? The last step, no teddy bears, guys. Yeah, funny you say that. I've had a few teddy bears come in. Is to update your photos online. It sounds obvious, right? You at the end of this, you get these incredible photos. You got 500 amazing photos that have come out of the studio. You get 10 that are retouched to perfection that you can put up, and they cannot gather dust. You have to put in the effort to go onto Google. You Google yourself and you look at where those images are. And if you have editing capability to replace these images, it does take a bit of time, but it is worth it, because this means that now when people search for you, your latest photos come up. Okay, so let's summarize all of this. Number one, you're going to pick the photographer that's got experience working with business owners. And then you're going to have a briefing to really understand what's involved. You're going to tell them what you like about yourself, what you want done, and to understand from the photographer how they work in studio. 2, hair and makeup, non-negotiable, got to do it. 3, stylist. If you're good with your clothes, remember solid colors, fitted. If you're uncomfortable, get a stylist. 4, get inspiration and get looks that you're excited to try with the photographer you take it with, and you say, I would like to do something like this. And number 5, don't forget, update your photos online. So with these tips that have been shared here today, you're really well on your way to creating the best version, the best personal brand images of yourself that will hopefully, not hopefully, that will definitely convey yourself in a confident way, an authentic way, and an exciting way, and in a way that'll stand out and bring opportunities your way. I'm not kidding when I say that having these photos and putting them out online really produces it kind of saying, I'm putting out a new energy out there. And when you do that, you start to get a new energy coming back, and opportunities, more business, things that you just didn't expect start to happen. So this is something that I'm excited for you guys to really pursue. And I hope all these tips have helped you today. Thank you.
So awesome. Thank you so much. Right. I'm going to open up immediately to anybody. Does anybody have questions for Marc? Is there something that you're dying to ask him? Or Dion, are you going to ask Marc, how can you add a container home to your photo? I'm just like throwing it out there.
Diane, unfortunately, there's no fixing. Ugly.
You got makeup to wear though, Dion. Oh dear. Robin's hands up first. Robin.
Yeah, hi Marc. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was really helpful. When I got the invitation from Diane, I was like, I'm not so sure about this, but I'm really glad I joined it, and thank you. You've been very inspirational. The one question I have is for ordinary people who are not Thuli Madonsela and rap stars and Liesl van der Westhuizen. Where would your and now I've got your, is it called a brand photo? I've suddenly gone blank.
Executive headshots.
No, not the executive headshots. The one with cats,
the purpose portrait.
The purpose portraits.
Yes.
Yes. What would you use that for? Where would you display that, if that makes sense? If you're just a normal human, would you go for something like that?
Yes, it depends where you are in your life. Some people want to really celebrate where they are in their life and have something that they can put up in their home. So typically with a purpose portrait, it would be produced and an acrylic printed on a big acrylic frame that would go in your home or your office. Remember, this is a reminder of your big intention and your purpose. You want to be looking at this every day. That is the purpose, because when you do, it reminds you of what you're aiming for, and it's going to help you get there. So that's number one. Social media is another part of it, is really putting it out there and saying a statement. I know that a lot of people who've done it and that are not the celebrities will put out this image and say, with quite a vulnerable or deep message about where they're at in their life and why the symbol is important to them. And it gives people and their network just a deeper insight into who they are as a human being.
Okay, thank you.
So Robin, you have a wedding coming up. It could be your wedding gift to your husband. Just saying.
I think he would have a heart attack if I had to give him a photo like that.
I also think, Robin, you're very special. I don't know why you don't say it for ordinary people. You've never been ordinary.
No, I mean like I'm not famous people, like just somebody who is a normal human being.
By the way, most of my clients are normal human beings. The presentation is just there to wow. Okay.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. It's very intimidating otherwise.
This group of people are not normal human beings. I just want to put that out there, Mark, just as a disclaimer. Any other questions? Andre, I see you got yourself unmuted.
Yeah, Mark, you and I are going to have to meet for lunch because I have so many questions, but just a few of them. Obviously, a lot of what you do is digital. So it's not just all photography. So I love the idea. I mean, I've got skewed teeth and it makes me so self-conscious. I never ever show my bottom teeth. And there's small things like, and you saying that's okay to repair these minor imperfections, or what should we call it? Are you okay with that? What do you suggest? I mean, a lot of photographers say, no, you're beautiful as you are, show your belly off and, and do that stuff. Are you saying let's fix those things up?
I'm saying it's up to you. People will say, I love my flaws as the way they are, show them. And others will say, I would actually like that fixed. And that's okay too. That's why it's important in the briefing. I wouldn't let the photographer decide for you. You need to decide for you what you want.
Yeah. Okay. I always try to say, don't get me from this side, whatever you do. And then the first thing they do is they turn me sideways. I'm like, what are you doing? I know those photographs are all going to go in the bin. So you're just wasting time. The other thing I wanted to, I've got so many questions, Mark, but I'm going to try to keep it down to two. Is first of all, well presented. I'm a voice and speech coach and a professional speaker, so you did very well. I love your gentle manner. It's just so appealing. But the one thing that you did do, which I absolutely adored, and I haven't seen it before, is the way that you brought the slides up over Zoom. I haven't seen anybody do that before. What, are you using some software with it?
We all do it, Andre. We all do it.
Not me. Not me.
Oh, you're behind you.
How do you do it? Mark, is there a piece of, is it one of these little add-on things that I've got all over my Zoom at the moment?
No, I use Prezi Video.
And how do you overlay it on the Zoom?
Prezi will run while Zoom is running. And when I start up Zoom, and there's a little button at the bottom which says start video, stop video, and there's an arrow and you can choose the camera. So it chooses a thing called the Prezi camera, which is now linking to that app. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think that I've got to sorry, just one last question. I've got a question for you, Mark. I've been wanting to do one of those wonderful coffee table books for years, but about values. I see you've spoken about purpose. For me, purpose is very often underpinned by values. And I would love to do it, but I'd like to come over, maybe have a chat with you and see, because one thing that I've never found is the right photography, because some of the things that I'm asking for are not just photographs. They are a little bit of art.
Let's have coffee.
Awesome. Thanks, Andre. Dylan.
Yeah, Mark, incredible. I'm a photographer myself. I do portraits, but not to that level. That's really incredible. I do more events, is sort of my main aspect of photography. We're doing a bit of construction here at home, so if you're hearing a jackhammer, I apologize for that. But yeah, I found it very inspirational, incredible portraits. The purpose portraits, it's like art, it's truly amazing. And with the purpose portraits, I realized that's where you can really get creative and almost change a person's presence in the way they look. But the question I had was, with your executive portraits, as you said, it's up to the client how much they want changed or fixed. But to what degree, I find that quite interesting. Like slimming is fine because you can lose weight. I suppose even fixing teeth, you can go to the dentist and end up looking like that. But there must be a level where you draw the line, like, well, I can't do that because that's totally changing your appearance. I suppose that's where you sort of, when you have that briefing session, you'll say, well, look, let's do that, but maybe that's a step too far. Does that ever happen?
Definitely. I think it's a constant pushback and to really gauge what the client wants. Yeah, you know, I think early on in the days, I learned my lesson very quickly is that things can go too far. And then you produce a photo that doesn't look like the person. And then they get the feedback from their network going, who is this? and then they feel a bit embarrassed about it. That's why I think, you know, it should be limited to, and I call it like marginal improvement. So when it comes to slimming, you're not taking somebody that's this big and making them this big. It's like just
Subtle,
a little bit of
yes.
a little bit of shape. Shape. Yeah. And you'll understand the importance of negative space in a photo. So like, you know, with an arm like this, you've got this negative space, and in having more negative space is always a more attractive thing in the end with the photograph. So it's just improving and creating more of these negative spaces to get there.
Sure. No, it's incredible nowadays what can be done, you know, post-production. So, but yeah, truly inspiring, and it's amazing stuff. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Platon, the portrait photographer in New York. I'm sure you've taken inspiration from him, because I see similarities in your style. Yeah, I find him, he's quite amazing as well. You like the South African version of him, and that's an incredible compliment. So yeah, really good. Thank you for the presentation. Like Andre said, slick and professional, and I also love the way the graphics came up and overlaid, and very good.
Thank you.
Nice, Dylan. Thanks for that. And just to let you know that Marc's book has just won two in the book. You need to go out and go and find it. You can't borrow mine. It's safely in my hands. So go look for it. It's really, it's.
And unfortunately, it's sold out. But if you are looking for a copy, I can put you in touch with the Reach for a Dream team, who have got additional copies. But everything that's in the trade was sold out.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Cool.
Well done. That's brilliant. So there's a number of business owners on here that I'm not sure if they want to ask questions, but for example, Prudy is a fantastic engineer, a woman engineer that walks around with pink boots when she goes on site. So those are the kinds of things that distinguish one another from the men out there in the field. Would that be something that you would take into consideration when you're looking at the purpose portraits? Would you dive into those types of questions as well? Like, what is different from somebody else, or not really?
Definitely. What differentiates yourself has to come out in your purpose portrait. That is an identification of you. So hell yes.
That's awesome. Anybody else with any questions before we say goodbye and have a fabulous month and see you next month? Nobody else? Mark, I don't know if you want to pop into...
I see Afsana has a hand up.
And so do I. Afsana, you can go first.
Thank you, Robin. Hi, Mark. Thank you for that. I want to know how frequent you should update your photos. I did one, I think maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. And I think because I see it all the time, I get bored. And I'm also a web designer, and most people change their website when they're bored of it. So I think with photos, is it the same, or you just change it when you lose weight or gain weight?
Rule of thumb, 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
Or
just to refresh.
if you're launching something big, which let's say you launch something new in your business, or you were doing a book or anything like that, where you want to draw a bit more media attention to that and to yourself, definitely do it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Nice, Afsana. Robin?
No, I had the same question. Sorry, I had the same question.
Oh, there we go. Anybody else with any other questions that you want to know about your photos? Maybe Mark, if you can pop your email address into the chat, if anybody wants to get hold of Mark. However, please do not spam him. Remember that this is his business, so do not go and abuse him by asking him every single question and then going to do your own photos later. But I think there's a great opportunity for everybody to reach out to Mark, have a bit of a chat, really go through those 3 questions that he asked, because often you will hear me tell you, when are you taking some time out to work on your business, and when are you just taking time out to think? And this is the time now for you to do that, is to take these 3 questions and really take that time to think about them, because they seriously will change the direction that your business is going into and the way that you're moving forward. But get hold of Mark. As you can see, he's fantastic. He's amazing in what he does. And he really will be able to guide you in the direction that your business could be going to if you reach out to him. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thank you, Mark, once again. It was a real privilege having you here amongst everybody. We hope that people will be reaching out to you in the next short while and growing your business from strength to strength.
Thank you, guys. And thank you, Diane.
Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Be well. See you next month.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.